Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Sportsbook Confidential. My name is John Sullivan, and I'm coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls, New York. And this little show is to help you learn and grow as a sports bettor. And an interesting show today. I don't expect it'll be too long, but I titled the show Presidential Betting, and I realize you can interpret that two ways, as number one is the betting habits of past presidents, but I'm actually going to talk about political markets and betting on elections and how, if you really wanted to do something like that, you could do it. It's a little more difficult in the USA than it is in other places of the world. But it's a very interesting election, obviously. The outcome is up in the air. They think it's going to be very close. Some people do anyway. And the betting markets will obviously reflect what the consensus is. So we'll take a look at that. And we'll have Week 8 in the NFL. And before we do any of that, we're going to do what we always do, and we're going to start by updating my bankroll. And as you can see, we had a starting bankroll of $495. So I bet the Cowboys money line, and the Cowboys continue to haunt me. That game was a disaster, and Andy Dalton got hurt. They had no chance. I minus $17 to the bankroll. The number in parentheses there is the count up or down. For those of you that are familiar with our concept of beating the closing line, we just basically got the closing line on number there, so that's a 0. It's not a plus or a minus. And then we had the Chiefs and the Broncos over, which was an easy winner. We did not get the best of the number. We had over 46, and it closed at over 44. So that's a -1 on our count. But I did not anticipate the snow, but I would not have hesitated to bet the over. Kansas City plays games in that kind of weather regularly. Did not expect it to affect the total. And then on Sunday night, we had the Cardinals plus 3.5, and that was a win. I did say last episode that I thought the money line was a good play, but I went safe and took the points. Plus $15 to the bankroll and 0 on the count. We got the same spread as the closing line. So if you do the math, that's a profit of $15 for the week. So that brings our bankroll back up to $510. Bet size is $17 for the week ahead. And our new count, we got a -1, so we went from +7 to +6. But we're still beating the closing line more often than not. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign that we're looking and finding value. So another good week. I'm very pleased how this football season's been going. It's a very unique season, and there have been a lot of unique trends with scoring and home field advantage, and it's been a fun season to watch, and I'm glad it's around. It's a pleasant distraction from some of the serious things going on in our lives. So let's talk about political markets today. And we're talking about, of course, betting on the presidential election or other elections around the world, or Senate elections or Congress elections or mayoral elections. While betting on elections isn't legal or regulated in U.S. sports books, and there are places you can wager on the election that are not sports books. Many offshore books do offer odds on most big political races. And when I'm done with this card here, we'll look at some websites and some examples. Most European retail sports books offer political wagering. So if you're in London for some reason and you go to a corner betting shop, you can actually bet on the outcome of the U.S. election. I'm not sure the limits will be very high, but you might be able to throw 100 pounds on either Biden or Trump or whomever to win the election. So not only can you bet on the winner of an election, but you can bet on other outcomes, such as states won, over-under on electoral votes won, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, the sports books will put out props. The betting on the election winner is essentially a future. You're betting on the outcome of a future event. And then all these other bets are proposition bets based on that event. So once again, you may not be able to place high limits on some of these things, but it's very interesting the creative wagers they come up with that you could possibly bet on. And then finally, there are non-traditional sites that allow you to buy and sell contracts on future political events. This is effectively wagering on the outcome. So to get around the whole betting thing, these other political websites will sell futures contracts on, certain outcomes, such as Trump winning the re-election or Biden winning the 2020 election, and they price these contracts, and you buy or sell them, and they pay off, at the date of the election or the date of the inauguration or whatever. So you can buy and sell these contracts, and the less likely, a candidate is to win, the price of his contract goes way down. And the more likely candidate is to win, the price of his contract goes way up. And they price them in cents on the dollar. So if somebody's 96% to win the election, their contract should sell for 96 cents and would pay $1. So we'll look at one of those sites as well as all these others here. So let's take a quick look at, we'll start with this news article, The Independent in the UK. And this was a recent article, and I just pulled this paragraph up and put it on the screen. William Hill currently has the best odds on Mr. Biden winning the election as a Democratic nominee at 11 to 20, or about 1 to 2, a little better than 1 to 2. While SpreadX and Matchbook, which are betting exchanges, have the best odds for President Trump at 15 to 8. So, and it says Odds Checker, which is a website that tracks bets, shows that 57% of the bets of the winner of the election have been on Trump, while 28% have been on Mr. Biden, which I find fascinating because the odds for Biden winning, Biden is the betting favorite, yet Trump has the most tickets. Well, obviously Trump is paying better odds, so that's an interesting stat there. So let's go to a sports book. Got an offshore sports book here, and they're offering odds on the election, and you could just straight up bet on whichever outcome you want. And you can see here that Joe Biden is minus 175, the favorite, and Donald Trump is plus 145, the underdog. And then there's, outlier wagers on Kamala Harris and Mike Pence. You can also see the winning party, Democrat minus 175, Republican plus 145. As I scroll down here, you can see Senate control you can bet on, number of swing states each candidate wins, who wins the House, who wins the Senate, which state wins, which candidate wins the state, each individual state. And yet there's lots of opportunities to place a wager where you see value. So obviously the presidential election is only once every 4 years, but if you're looking for value and that's your goal as a bettor, you might find something there. And then finally, let's move on to this website. It's called Predict It, which I've never used, so I don't endorse it or don't have any disclaimers one way or the other. But right here you can see they said they have 104 markets which you can buy a contract on the election. And on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see 2020 presidential election winner. And Joe Biden is at 67 cents for $1 payout. Donald Trump is at 39 cents for $1 payout. And you can see it says no change. And then Biden's been down 1 cent recently. So, you can bet on the states. You can bet on voter turnout. You can bet on all different scenarios. And once again, you can do this in the United States, but it's very uncertain to me what the limits are. I'm not a big-time bettor, so I'm sure it's well within my limits. But if you're somebody that wants to lay heavy money, I don't know if it'll be very easy to do that. But it's very interesting how these political markets operate. And Nate Silver, who's one of the best-known political predictors, pundits, statistical pundit, thinks that the betting markets have almost no predictive value, which I totally disagree with. But it'll be interesting to see how his model compares to the betting markets. We know that his model has Trump at about 12.5% and Biden at about 87.5% to win. And I can't calculate those betting odds off the top of my head, but I know they're a lot more spread out than minus 175 plus 145. So it'll be interesting to see which one turns out to be closer. I really don't think the polls are that accurate. I mean, they were wrong last time. I think they might be better, but it doesn't mean they're going to be right again. I don't know. I guess that's why they have the elections. But it'll be an interesting Tuesday. We might not even know who the winner is on Tuesday night. It might be a couple of weeks. So very interesting wager situation. So I thought it was pretty topical and be fun to talk about. And, they have important elections all over the world all the time, and some people can find tremendous value in these markets. So I thought I would just bring it up. I'm going to stick to sports for the rest of the episode, but I hope you enjoyed that. So let's move right on to NFL Week 8, and we're going to start with the Vikings at the Packers. -6 is the spread, 51 is the total, and you can see my numbers in parentheses are my model's prediction of the game, and I use a spreadsheet to calculate a prediction, weighting different data sets, and that's what I came up with. The Packers -8.83, 52.36 is the total. So the model leans over, and it leans Packers about 2.5 points. So I really like the Packers here. It feels like a trap game, but the Vikings season is almost over. It's really kind of a must-win game for them. The Packers and the Vikings played, I believe, week 1 in Minnesota, and it was a very tight game in the first half, and the Packers pulled away in the second, and I don't believe Davante Adams was in that game, and he was just on fire last week, and big difference maker in the offense there, and the defense needs to stay healthy for the Packers. After that bomb in Tampa Bay, they bounced back with just a devastating win, so I like the Packers here. Titans at the Bengals. Bengals plus 652. I have the Titans as 10.49 favorites, 54.66. So again, my model leans over. I wonder if this is a correction because my model does take into account recency on these overs. These last 2 games were predicted. It leaned over because the scoring was up in the first several weeks. I don't know if they're going to start calling more holdings on both sides of the ball. It seemed like they were calling a lot more holding in last night's game. But I do like obviously the Titans here to win this game. 4 points for that towards the Titans according to my model. So that's really one I'm going to keep in my back pocket for later. Rams at the Dolphins. Dolphins plus 3.5, 46. I have it at plus 3.19, 46.72. I can't bet on this game because of Tua Tagovailoa. I can't pronounce his name. I'm sorry. It's his first NFL start, and he got in a blowout, and that's been his only NFL experience. And there's no data to go off here. With Fitzpatrick in, I actually was kind of leaning towards the Dolphins here. They're an average to above average team with him in the game, and Tua is just the wild card here. And I don't know if it makes them a good play or a horrible play. So I just have to stay away from that game. The number's right on for the model for the total. I'm not going to touch this game. The Jets at the Chiefs. The Chiefs minus 19.5 points, 49. My model has them favored by 24 points. And 45 is the total. So it leans under. And I actually would lean under here because I expect it to be a blowout, and I expect that Chiefs will not run up the score. If the Jets put up 10 points, the Chiefs would put up, 35, 39 points. That's 49. They have, 4 solid running backs. Hilaire and Shady McCoy and whom did they just sign? Le'Veon Bell, and there's another one that escapes me at the moment. But they can, if they can run the ball, they can just control the clock in the second half. And it all depends on how many the Jets score. If you think the Jets are going to score more than 10 points, then maybe it goes over. But my model has the Jets scoring about 9 points in this game, so I kind of think it's going to go under 49. So if that number goes up going towards Sunday, I would certainly look at the under. Steelers at Ravens, a big game. Steelers undefeated. Ravens coming off a bye, so they're going to be prepared. 46.5 is the total. My model leans under there, and these teams have always seemed to play low-scoring games. They very rarely have high-scoring games. The spread's about right on. I think Ravens were minus 5.5 earlier, and a lot of money came in on the Steelers. But it could be a close game. It could be a 3-point game. Let's see where that total goes. But at 46.5, I really like the under there. And then we got the Raiders at the Browns. I think this is an interesting game. Browns minus 2.5, 50.5. I have the Browns at minus 3.74, 54.18. So my model really likes the over here. I don't think it's going to be a weather issue game. Now, Odell Beckham Jr. is out with the season for making that awkward tackle on the interception. And he was really not used very much in the offense this year. I mean, obviously he was a weapon, but he was not targeted as much as some of the other receivers, and they still managed to put up 37 points without him last week. So I don't think that affects the total at all here. And the Raiders, like to score points, and they play kind of a Saints kind of ball. They most games they usually put up a fair amount of points, and yeah, I like the over here. I like the Browns to win at home. It's a big win for them. They'll keep pace with the Saints and the Ravens. With the Steelers and the Ravens. And hopefully if the Ravens beat the Steelers, then they're only one game out of the division. So let's move on. We've got the Patriots at the Bills. Bills minus 4, 41. I have the Bills at minus 5.69, 41.71. But there's two things that are bothering me. Number one is the last three games for the Bills, they have struggled offensively. They beat the Jets, but boy, I don't think they scored more than 20 points in any three of those games. Did they 17, 18, and 18? Or something like that, 17, 16, and 18. So I don't think the Bills are going to win 17-13. I certainly don't. The Patriots have also looked out of sorts. Cam Newton seems like he's not giving that 100% that he was earlier in the year. I don't know. But Bill Belichick always has something planned for the Bills. And I don't like this number at all. I don't like this game at all. I mean, I'm going to root for the Bills, but I have absolutely no betting interest in this game. The next game was taken off the board this morning, and I'm not exactly sure why, if it's a weather issue or an injury issue, but Chargers at the Broncos, +3 was the last number I saw. I forgot what the total was. My model has it at plus 0.13, so a virtual coin flip, and 43.58 is the total. And I have to say that I like this. I like the Broncos here at +3. I mean, it's basically the model saying this game is even Steven, and you're getting 3 points in pretty much any NFL situation. I like that. Plus, they're at home. Not saying there's going to be a huge home field advantage, but see where the total shakes out. I'm pretty sure that the Broncos will do better than they did last week. So we'll see what happens. Excuse me, Colts at the Lions, +3 at home, 50. I have the Lions as 3-point underdogs at home. 49.5 there on the total. It's right where it's supposed to be. It seems like a game that you really should let go. I don't like playing road favorites very often. It's just a game that it is, they're both playing indoor stadiums, so it's kind of a neutral advantage there, but yeah, I'm going to pass on that game. Saints at the Bears. Bears plus 4.5, 43.5. I have the Bears at 3-point underdogs, 43.66. So the total's right on. I like the Bears getting 4.5 here. I think they'll be closer. I mean, the Saints have historically been very good. They're going to face a tough defense, and they are. I'm not convinced of Drew Brees' ability to throw the ball downfield. Most of his throws have been these lollipop throws, and they talk. I watched this Seahawks game last Sunday, and Russell Wilson is throwing these teardrops, and they're not the same ball. I mean, the balls are on the same trajectory, but Russell Wilson is throwing them with much more arm strength than Drew Brees is throwing them. So Drew Brees is throwing 10, 15 yards down the field, can throw. I don't want to say throw a laser. He can throw, a straight line ball. Certainly not as much arm strength as he used to have. And the Bears are coming off a lousy game against the Rams, and the Saints defense is nowhere near as good as the Rams defense. So I kind of like the Bears here. We'll see how that ends up in my picks. 49ers at Seahawks, minus 354. I have it at minus 3.5 and 54.8. So once again, a game that's, lined appropriately. It's right where it's supposed to be. My initial reaction is there's no reason to bet on this game at all, but it should be a good game to watch. And I would love to see the 49ers win here and make complete chaos of the NFC West, which would help Green Bay if they could win, get the stranglehold on that bye. Cowboys at the Eagles, minus 943. I have it at minus 6.84, 48.15. So you've got two teams that are injured all the heck, and we don't know what's going to happen with the quarterback for the Cowboys just yet. They've got a couple of bad options. Have they lost the locker room? Has that coaching staff lost the confidence of both the players and the owner? We don't know what's going on there. It's really up in the air. On paper, this game, you should be taking the Cowboys all day. I haven't won betting the Cowboys this year. The Eagles should win this game, but everybody in this division, nobody has more than 2 wins. Cowboys have 2 wins. Eagles have 2 wins. The football team has 2 wins, and the Giants have 1 win. And it's, normally you'd say, the Cowboys season's over and they're just playing out the string, but they're right in the mix. I mean, they're right there. This is for first place in the division. I like the over here. These teams are going to score points. It's an important game. I have it at 48. That's like a 5-point swing there. So I like that a lot. And then the Bucs and the Giants on Monday night. Giants plus 12.45. My model has it as 13.8, 46.58. Yes, the Bucs are good. I don't know if they're 2 touchdowns good. They on the road, they have not played that blowout type of football. They blew out the Packers at home, but the Giants are really just a couple of players away from being, fairly competitive across the league. They're really not in that bad of shape. I think they are undervalued in this situation. But if I was getting 14, I think I would take the Giants. 13.5, I don't know. But 14 or more, I think I would take the Giants there. See where the total goes. Obviously, with all the weapons that Tom Brady has, and Antonio Brown will be coming in next week, I would guess. They lost O.J. Howard for the season, but they've still got Gronk and Cameron Brate, and they've got all those receivers, Mike Evans and Godwin, etc. You're looking for a reason to bet the over with those teams. So we'll see what happens. Watch the line movement on that game. So that's really going to do it for this week. We had a short show, but I'm going to give you my picks. As things stand now, these were the best plays in my mind. I'm taking Green Bay. That line's moved to minus 6.5 at minus 110. I like the Packers to win here. I would really like this more at 6. but we're going to mark it down at 6.5, and that's going to be for our record, for our closing line, et cetera, everything. Titans, we found them at minus 5.5 and minus 109, and I really like that one. The Bengals' defense is the problem. It is not the offense. The offense can put up, they've played the Browns twice, and they've lost. They put up 30 and 34 points against the Browns, which is a decent defense. It's the offense. It's the Bengals' defense that's the problem. They can't stop anybody. They can't control the line of scrimmage. Titans should win here. I like that play a lot. And then I'm going to take the Eagles and the Cowboys over 43. I feel like this is a number that could be beaten pretty easily. 28-17 is kind of what we're looking here. Maybe more field goals will be kicked than touchdowns, but I feel like these teams are going to, it's too important a game, and they're going to try to keep scoring. And, if one team gets ahead, they're not going to let off the gas. So good number there, over 43, 102. I think that's going to beat the closing line. So that's it for my picks this week. Thank you for tuning in and talking about the presidential election. I hope we're all here next week after the election is over. But enjoy the weekend in football, and we'll be back next week with another episode, and I hope to see you then. So let me play the outro music for you, and let's get some winners, folks. Here we go. Thanks for watching. Take care, everybody.